All Things TechIE podcast is a product of the Extreme Media Network. For advertising and sponsorship opportunities, please visit www.extrememedia.ie. That's XTREME media.ie.
Hello to you all, it's Justin Dawson. It's the All Things TechIE podcast, episode 48.
Audio visual from an Irish perspective. This is the All Things TechIE podcast.
Now, I recorded this program with Simon earlier in the week, and then it sort of sat in my inbox, and I did absolutely nothing with it, listeners. And then some things have changed. God, a lot of things have changed in the week. So congratulations to Mrs. and Mrs. Lang with the birth of their new baby son. So Benjamin, I can't wait to give you cuddles when I get vaccinated. Really can't wait. Little baby boy, congratulations, Simon and Anne. Before we recorded this program, Simon was getting everything ready, or he said he was ready. So it's episode 48 of the All Things TechIE podcast. In the meantime, a new baby's been born. Congratulations to Simon and Anne on the birth of their son. Really healthy baby, healthy mommy, and great to see. If you'd like to get in contact with the program, you can do so by visiting our website, www.allthingstech.ie for All Things TechIE. We have the hashtag AVTechJunkies, and you can also tweet Simon and send us congratulations there to @SimonLangAV. My handle on Twitter is @JustinOrDawson, and please like, comment and share the program. It's episode 48 of the All Things TechIE podcast.
Like our show, don't forget to subscribe to All Things TechIE in your favorite podcast store.
It's episode 48 of the All Things TechIE podcast. I'm Justin Dawson with Simon Lang again. We are back again to do another episode of the All Things TechIE podcast. Why have we been? Well, for me, I've just been sticking my head in books and also being busy with a new role in a different higher ed environment, and it was so weird. It was like, Simon, you did a bit of a virtual change of job in the early part of this COVID lockdown, and then you did the exact same thing where you're at home and you just go virtual coffee and goodbye, and then the next day started new. Was it actually the next day for you as well?
Was the one side, so it was a long weekend. So basically I finished on a Friday, shut the computer down, just put it into a bag, zip tied the bag, and courier came, collected it. And Monday, another courier came with a new laptop, or Tuesday.
For me, it was like I finished on the Monday and started the new role in the Dublin City University. I might as well say, look, like, people can look at my LinkedIn profile. I'm not bad mouthing any university, but totally different environment of totally weird environment rather of, you have one email address, that's all the Google House, and then the next day you're logging into a different Google House and off you go, and you're now in a different work environment.
At least you're not changing between operating, like in the sense of you've gone from a Google to a Google. I went from a Google to a Microsoft environment. So I spent the first 2 weeks not bad-mouthing Microsoft, but learning how to use Outlook. I haven't used Outlook in about 15 years.
Do you know what, not even going off on a tangent at the moment, but I found a little video workshop of how to tidy up your Google inbox to go to inbox zero using labels. It goes into your Outlook idea, right? So I've been tidying up my personal inbox, but I have something like 15 or 20,000 emails, but you can label them and you can hide your inbox. So that's what I've been doing for the past hour or two, despite the fact that I should be studying for an exam. But there you go.
The other side is I have about 50 something labels, and 80% of them have automatic filters on them, so they automatically tag based on the email when it comes in straight away.
Have you got to inbox zero yet?
Oh no, but I'm not bad.
Hell
I know.
no.
I usually drift between about 40 and 100 because
So,
if you're like me into AV, you're getting what 15 to 20 emails a day
mhm,
on a bad day
yeah.
about this new thing, this new thing, this new product. I've tried to shift loads of them back over to my work ones, so I'm not getting them
Well,
because
that's
work have
why,
a great
like,
filter. That's
starting,
what's great.
starting. Well, you talk about using Outlook for the first time and like starting a new job. So at least you're starting with a clean slate of an inbox, and if you put the right labels on your inbox, it might work. So I'm trying this with my new
Hmm.
role at DCU, trying to use it correctly.
And
Whether it works.
yeah. And Outlook is, I suppose, it goes back to the folder mentality. Do you
Mm.
know, like your Windows Explorer, so you can put files into folders, so you know where to find them. So my Outlook is in folders. So I
Mm.
have a folder for each job. I have a folder for each client if I was dealing with the same client all the time, so for multiple jobs. So it's kind of working.
Well, since I come from a Google background and both personal emails and my own personal work environment, and this podcast is in a Google environment, and and my other work job, I can moan about Microsoft, and I will moan about Microsoft. I just can't get my head around Teams. Sorry, Teams just annoys me. You know, um, just the features. I just find the whole Zoom environment so much easier to use. That's
And
me. That's me.
yeah, and I think it's whatever works for you. Because I'm in Teams all day long. My files are in Teams. My talking or my instant messaging is in Teams.
Well, I
My
guess that's the difference. Like if you're a Microsoft house, you're going to use Teams and you can pull it up like you would have Slack, for example, and you can collaborate the whole environment across. Yeah.
hmm, yeah,
We went off on a tangent there, guys. It's the All Things Techie podcast, episode 48.
48.
Yeah, and 47, we have to just say 47. What a great episode. I'm talking to Simon's bosses in plural, and the new educational courses that they're doing. God, Simon, I tell you something, if I was younger and starting off, like, it's talking to John, it's the fact of the matter is you don't need to have leaving cert big points behind you to go into a course like this. It's people that are showing their interest. And again, we're going to throw up the
Hmm,
website again. The applications are still open. That's all we're going to say about it. And best of luck. We have no say in the matter of who gets into the placements, either does
nope.
Simon. So we'll just throw that out. But what a great start of something in Ireland and making Ireland a bit of a tech hub for a learning environment with audiovisual technology. Definitely think that's a big step in the right direction. Ireland has been crying out for something like this, and I think we can. Well, I say we. I think CT and can do that as well, and the NEP group can do something really cool going forward with that. Now, if you'd like to get in contact with the program, you can tweet Simon at SimonLangAB or myself at Justin or Dawson with hashtag All Things TechIE and all the news. And we're going to make a new website when I get time. I'm going to update the website. And that is a summer plan. That is like, funny enough, like I'm studying a project management course, and I keep on talking about the life after studying this project management course.
You might
Yeah,
project manager a website change.
a website change. Yeah, at least like I'm the project manager of my own projects, and I could give out to myself when it's not done. It's yeah, something like that. Yeah. Also, we're on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube, and don't forget to click like and subscribe. And we also share the video on LinkedIn as well. So we love getting your comments on our programs. It makes us feel good and warm and cuddly inside. And we'll better mention at the very start of this, like that Simon will be going missing in action for a while because we can't say baby number 2 is on the way. I don't think it's a secret anymore, Simon.
No, but it's like when I say it's on the way, it could happen at any point. So if I disappear in the middle of the show, we know what's going to happen.
Oh,
I
cool.
can't.
Can we do like a live, like, would your wife mind if we do a live show while she's in the labour ward?
If I can get into the labour ward.
Well, that's true too. You know, what an experience, and what an environment. But like, are you ready? Well, I'm going to ask 2 questions. Are you technically ready with your tech for when baby number 2 comes?
Now, we did get a new monitor, or baby monitor, which has a built-in projector.
Hold on. What?
That projects. No, it's basically it's a light behind a stencily thing that moves around that they call a projector, but it projects moons and stars and stuff into the ceiling.
Okay.
And it has a kind of a cool base. It's magnetic, so you can rotate it around to shine it on a wall or shine it on your ceiling.
I thought it was more the fact like the receiver for mommy and daddy was going to have a projection screen like to the ceiling showing you baby. The baby is sleeping right now, and hey, that's a great idea for.
We're actually, yeah. But the other side is we're real boring. We actually have no interest in the live camera. We've just an audio monitor. Yeah. Some people love to be able to see their baby, and some people don't. I have no interest in
you would
seeing
never
it.
sleep if you're watching a baby. Maybe for first time, especially for first time parents.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to insult anyone.
First time parents, you make your mistakes on your first. I'll admit that now. Yes, we made our mistakes on our first.
Yes.
But like nice age gap between like your eldest being 5, 6,
5,
going on 6,
yeah.
And baby number 2. She's going to absolutely spoil this baby.
Oh yeah, she loves it, and but that's the only tech we've bought in a sense of because we've kept everything from the first one, so we've nothing really new and fancy and cool like these motorized baby strollers and stuff like that. We were looking at ages back. Remember we were looking at this? There was the baby stroller with an engine on it and stuff like that. No.
Well, like, you know what? Like, I still have, during COVID, went out and went to our Irish toy shop, Smith's, and I bought like a little slide and swing set, and never actually like comprehended that. Like, oh yeah, like my second will get big enough to want to swing on the swing or whatever, because she wasn't even crawling at the time, and now like she's running around the place and chasing my older son all around the place. To the stage of like, leave me alone, because there's not much of an age gap between the two of them. But if anything, I love to be one of these like dude dads. That if anyone wants to go off and watch podcasts that are semi-techie and also about dads minding their kids, Dude Dad on YouTube is brilliant, because this guy just goes out and just like, he is the engineer that just goes, okay, let's like change the whole downstairs of my house into a ball pit while the wife is at work type of approach. Yeah.
I don't know how he's not divorced.
Yeah. So one of the episodes that is that, but I always think like the simple things that I would love to do, especially when like you want to just get a cup of tea and you put the baby or the little toddler into the swing and she can't push herself, so as soon as the swing slows down you have to go back out again and push it. I just love to put a motor on it and just go yeah. And that's probably like simple for Dude Dad, but
it's probably a weight just underneath the seat.
Yeah. Hey.
Like a pendulum weight, like you just put on it, and the pendulum just keeps going. Now there's another patent for All Things TechIE. We're just rocking them up here.
Rocking them up there. So like, yeah. So while Simon's off on his paternity leave for a short period, he probably will be trying to come out with loads of inventions that to keep, that's if he does get any sleep or whatever the case may be,
that comes part and parcel. We think as you have more kids, you start to realize that's just a given, that you're lacking in sleep.
I bet the excitement is coming into play now, Simon, where you just go, I have weeks off, but then you just realize, oh wait, I'm going to have no sleep for the next.
I haven't even considered that bit about the time off. I'm just kind of like, oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And then, the adrenaline will kick in as you try to get into the hospital as quickly as possible in the car and not break any speed limits or red lights.
Yeah. I think that I think the guards have much more important matters to deal with at the same moment in time. Right. So, but up first on the agenda, ISE. I know it's been a while since I've sat down with Simon and talked about it, but ISE, well, it's gone from 4 events to 2. Yeah, and sad, really. Maybe did we all see this coming? Did we all think that? Hold on a minute, maybe IC won't take place, even if they started moving things around. Mike Blackman came out with a statement, and so the 2 places. Sorry, I better check out where the 2 places. They have updated the ISE updated their website. The other day when I looked at it, it wasn't fully updated. So Barcelona, London, and digital. Amsterdam is gone. Germany is gone. Munich, 30th of April 2021. In a statement today, Mike Blackman, Managing Director of Integrated Systems Events, said, "We have made the decision to cancel ISE events planned for Munich and Amsterdam. While we had good support from both exhibitors and visitors who wanted to get together at a local event, new government regulations regarding COVID-19 in both Germany and the Netherlands have meant we are unable to guarantee being able to proceed with these 2 events. Preparations for Barcelona and London are well underway as the government ease restrictions in both Spain and the UK and remain on target for the successful return of events." Well, you know what? I have a feeling that England's going to have a big turnout time because they're getting vaccinated. Let's be honest. The optimism is coming back to Ireland as well, where a third of the country is nearly vaccinated now with the vaccination number 1, and we're down to the 50 to 59 age group in Ireland, but coming up to June, isn't it? That I think.
Yeah, so it's 2 weeks. It's about 2 weeks away.
2 weeks, yeah.
Oh, Barcelona's 2 weeks away. Sorry. So
first and 2nd of June. End of June, there's not going to be enough Irish people vaccinated to want to travel across to England. I believe.
Yeah, I think it's our quarantine things that is really restricting us. So if you didn't have to quarantine after going to the UK, I think you'd actually get a lot more Irish people going as well. But England, there's a lot of people who go from England to ISE when it was in Amsterdam. Like if you look on Twitter, the amount of university tech, AV tech people and all those that would be sending people or to go over the Channel Tunnel or fly.
I wonder, will they have many people in Central Europe from Germany and Amsterdam and such that will make the trip to Barcelona? Will they be allowed to?
Yeah. It's all about this digital green passport that they're trying to bring out in Europe that allows free travel within Europe once you're vaccinated. So maybe, but like in our case, I think you still have to isolate for 2 weeks after coming back from Spain. So I don't think anyone from Ireland will be going unless you're going to turn it into a long holiday while you're over there.
I'm so curious to see how the digital approach will come out. I've been playing around with different virtual event softwares, and I have to say some of them I really like. Some of them have the breakout tables and whatever, and then of course in the past year played around with a lot of them that LTSMG did their event pretty much over Zoom, but with green screens and whatever. But I wonder, after this whole year event, has there been more uptake in different virtual event softwares? Have you played with any of them? Have you been to any virtual events where you just went, wow, this setup it's nice. I like the design.
No, most of the stuff I've been to has been training courses, and they've been all either Zoom, go to
webinar.
Have been the main ones, and I don't know if I've been to any on any other ones? Because I'm actually looking here for the IC Digital. They're using Cisco technology.
Oh, right. So I wonder, is it going to be similar to going to webinar
Mm.
approach, or
It
will
says,
they have
it says
have
the
open?
IC Digital is a 2-day festival of content where you create your own playlist from the sessions that interest you most, powered by Cisco technology.
Hmm. So will it be? That's the question. Will it be the same as what Simon mentioned about the go-to-webinar approach?
Or WebEx. Isn't WebEx owned by
Um,
Cisco?
Cisco WebEx, yeah, yeah. Our old days of using Cisco WebEx before this
Yeah.
whole environment changed, and everyone now uses Zoom or
Zoom didn't
Microsoft Teams.
exist back then,
Yeah,
really, when you think
they
about it.
didn't.
It was
No,
all WebEx.
yeah. It it it's interesting times ahead. You know, I think any virtual software that has the integration of somewhere to network. I've played with one which was super. Won't name the names of them, but if any of our listeners have been into virtual software that they have really liked, please get in contact with us. But one of them that I played with, you had your virtual environment where you could have your lobby or whatever and depending on whether you went up to the main stage, which was one room, whether you went into breakout sessions or into the lobby, you could see who was in the lobby broken down. You can also do a VIP ticket, so people with VIP tickets could only talk to VIP people in a separate golden lobby type of approach. And also, it wasn't just chat. You could one-to-one video call people, and you had sort of the LinkedIn integration, and you could search people by should they have put up their personal networking contact details.
Wow.
I thought it was nice. Yeah, if you are hosting some of these virtual events, very expensive. Like there was one virtual software that I looked at that they have a set price to start with, and then they charge $3 per head per day. So if it's over a couple of days, that's $6, $9, so forth.
Hmm.
And they take a chunk of, I think, 7 to 10% out of the ticket sale. So whether you decide to add the extra 10% to your sale or whether you decide to absorb that cost as well. But
Wow.
again, you had areas where like the lobby looked like you're walking along all the pillars, could play different videos as you moved along. So some of them is nice in that view, but I think this was the area where people could have really ramped up the AI AR experience, the VR experience, and made it more interactive. And I think in the year that was, as I'm saying, the year that was, year and a half that was, now we're getting it more into the whole environment that people are hoping to physically go back to it or a hybrid approach. But with that hybrid approach, you would just hope that there is some live material on ISE that it's not going to be.
Imagine it was like you have something like that for ISA next year, where you would walk through into the lobby, and the lobby is an exact replica of the lobby of
Yeah,
in Barcelona.
wouldn't it be super?
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't it be super? Like I don't get. I think even working in a higher ed environment, hybrid is the way forward. Work environment is going to be hybrid. There's not going to be people that's in the 9 to 5 job ever again. No, I can't see us like. But here's something interesting. I was talking to someone recently, and they were saying that like despite the likes of the tech giants, the Googles, the Microsofts, and so forth, some of them are really turning around and sort of backpedaling on what their approach was of saying, "Oh, we're going to allow you to work from home indefinitely." To we want you back in the office.
Because I seen some US company the other day, and they just sold their headquarters in San Francisco, and so that they're going completely home. And I've seen the other ones where they're, like you say, that they're trying to get them back into the office, or a mixed where it's a team rotational. So for 1 month, this team can come into the office. Next month, this team can come in.
I wouldn't
So
mind that. No, I
mm,
wouldn't mind that approach. But my thoughts, maybe it's different working in public sector, but I would hope that to be able to say, well, I've worked from home for the past year and a half. I proved that I can do my job from home, so therefore,
yeah,
let me continue work. And I think both public and private have to have that type of approach. That it's given people, like, don't get me wrong, there's days that I wish that I would be in the office where the two toddlers are screaming the house down, but
mm,
and I'm sure as soon as Simon's back from paternity leave and going, oh gosh, oh, I have to go out to work, sorry, bye, you probably go
yeah.
to work to sleep. Find somewhere to
It
sleep in the
depends.
car.
Yeah, it all depends on what you're doing and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. I think I probably won't be in an office full time. I think I'll be in the odd day, and when as projects need you to be there. But I think it'll probably be more home to client site versus home to office.
Yeah. But like we talked earlier there about Microsoft Teams, and you live your life on Microsoft Teams. And for me, more busier now on Zoom calls because no one's on campus. But nice thing is, okay, Microsoft got there sort of ahead of Zoom. Zoom have now introduced the immersive views concept.
Mm,
Do you like it? Do you like the immersive views in
Teams.
yeah.
I don't really see any major benefit of them yet. Like we've had team meetings and I've played with them, and it looks like you're sitting in a cinema
Yeah.
basically. But I don't know. I maybe is it also part you kind of enjoy seeing what people's backgrounds are, and kind of like there's a little bit of individuality, and you're seeing people's personalities by what's around them. And depends who you're having calls with. Sometimes you'll see people and you can see they're major American football fans, and you buy the pictures and stuff on the wall, and you kind of get to know a person a bit more by seeing what's around them, even though a lot of people blur their background and stuff like that. So
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it might help. But see, I suppose I don't know. Can you force an immersive view, or is it just by
If
this is
you're
your
the host,
personal preference?
you can force it. So long as on Zoom anyway, so long as you have the most up to date software, you can force it upon them if you're the host. I think super for the likes of education,
Mm,
that you can set people around. I think also super for something that if you're having a large staff meeting, it's you can it adds that approach. Class, but definitely
Formality maybe to it.
yeah, it's classroom. One thing that annoys me is that you can't record yet, and hopefully that will come down the line shortly.
Mm,
But for many, if you're trying to, uh, if you had more, it's in its infancy for definite. I think if you had more templates to design it, I think the template approach and the background is very basic so far. But the classroom I liked, because it looked very it was American looking, but like K to 12 approach that they have for their classroom. But for primary school, the secondary school one would be the lecture theatre. Yeah, it's a bit bland. You could
mm.
approach it more. But if you could have it more, I don't know, hologram type of approach where
Yeah,
it is 3D, it would be super. But
yeah.
that depends on, and then from looking at all these softwares and trying out on X2O again, which was first introduced in Harvard Business School. What a system that is! I'm just going to sell that again. It costs a lot of money, but what a system that is, and the fact that if I was approaching, I don't know, have you played with X2O yet, Simon?
No.
But like literally below every large screen, they can split it up to 4 or 8 students. but below each screen they have a pan tilt zoom camera inbuilt, so you could have a video wall, but as soon as a student asks you a question, it's coming out from a set speaker, so the lecturer is moving their head to the direction that the student is talking, and because of that, the eye contact with the camera, it makes it look that like they are speaking directly to that person. It's super. It is. Like I haven't seen anything that beats that type of. And sorry, I'll name it now. I'll say now to all our listeners, I'm not getting sponsored saying this. The system just is beautiful system for that reason. And then they showed, I demoed it only recently, where they had a large 55-inch screen in a small room, though they didn't have the Harvard set up because that was their first model. They can simplify it now to 4 to 8 people on a screen with a camera underneath, and they also had and of course all the features of being able to unmute lecture, being able to mute and unmute the whole classroom by a touch panel, just a simple smart device. But they had a screen behind him, and he was able to, if he wanted to, by the power of the virtual software, he could bring in any speaker in the room or any guest in the room and make them the main guest lecturer. So you can think of the fact that if you had a guest lecturer that you wanted to bring in from Australia or other country, or even if the other regions of Ireland, for example, they don't have to travel, but you're automatically creating this hybrid approach where you have someone in the lecture theatre and you have a monitor beside them, and then people, so you can have this some of the rooms that they've set up, they've had maybe 2 or 3 tiers of seats, and then above them is the monitor, so you can have this hybrid approach. Let's throw you some photos, and I'll put some photos of the H2O on our show notes as well. I just think the system works.
It sounds really perfect for that kind of lecture environment where you kind of need the lecturers kind of have that eye contact with the students, and you're trying to engage them at home, even though they're still part of the room, but they feel part of the room by even just being visually acknowledged.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I think was it the first year that we went to ISE, back now 3 years ago, and I'm trying to think of the software, but everyone describes it as the Minority Report system. Brain freeze now, where you can move around from.
It's not. Is it mezzanine? Where
mezzanine?
The one where you're using the wand.
Yeah, like you wonder. Oblong mezzanine. Yeah, it's a great piece of software, but has it gone now where people will start thinking, businesses start thinking, if we go hybrid now, we need to take away the image of Microsoft Teams and Zoom and go down the route of something like X2O, which is not just for education, but something that, you know, if they have large meetings, that there's enough pan tilt zoom cameras in the room that's capturing the whole environment.
Yeah, and like I've seen like requests where you have boardrooms and it's like 40 to 50 people boardrooms. Like you don't see that very much, but you want everyone in the room to be able to be captured and heard and seen. And it's like, how many cameras can you put into a system? You know, and like there's different companies out there which might have dual pan tilt and zoom cameras, but you're still trying to zoom down like maybe 20 meters and it still keep the same high quality. It's getting harder to find cameras that can do that. The best I've seen so far is I've seen one recently, and they actually record in 4K, but really they only ever show is HD because they zoom in. They use the 4K image to zoom in to make it a HD image. So
Wow.
they're kind of like digitally zooming within a 4K image, which is kind of an interesting idea.
I think if any type of area that's going to be improved, even if companies, AV companies, tech companies have been holding off and seeing what happens with the COVID pandemic, this is the area of growth that I think is going to grow most rapidly. That it's not, and I don't mean headsets and microphones and systems, but the software as a service type of approach of what yes, I did use the word software as a service approach, and I know that
Someone's going to get on Twitter.
everyone's that read my last magazine article in higher ed AV is going to go, he said software as a service, that's IT. Well, yeah, but still AV is not IT, IT is not AV. I will stand and I will stomp my foot on this, and I've had enough people to agree with me.
Or you might as well throw in the AV as a service one there just for the laugh.
AV as a service, yeah. Joe Way, I know you're listening. I'm pointing to the camera. I know you're listening. Google Meet is getting a new user interface next month, and with smarter meeting features. It's not like the Zoom Brady Bunch or the Microsoft Team Brady Bunch. It seems that you can pin and make the sizes the size that you want. There's like, from the photo that I have here, and I'll put this up on the show notes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 14 small thumbnail sizes, one large one on the left, and then more rectangular one on the right. I like it.
Like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, if being it's real Google, that you can kind of move things around to suit the kind of like to make it completely personal to whatever way you want it to be. But the only thing is, because I know I think I don't know if it's Teams for doing it, where there was this issue where there was people kind of coming and going, and it kept switching the windows around automatically, and people were getting annoyed by this. That you're watching a person speak, and all of a sudden they jump to the bottom corner because someone else has moved or joined or left and stuff like that. So they're trying to stop that kind of jumping around as much to make it a little bit more.
I was on a team call the other day, and I just couldn't grasp how to see everyone on screen at the same time. I eventually, especially when someone was sharing a screen, I know, like when I use Zoom here and someone's sharing a screen, that like I have the pop out of
the cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it working properly on Teams. Yeah, but anyways, Google bring out a new user interface. Looking forward to playing around with that. Even still, I just find at times that the Google interface and the streaming doesn't hold up as strong as Zoom. Like, I just find that Zoom, and I have fiber broadband at home, but I just think that Zoom holds up the strongest.
It's whatever the codec they're using in the background and encoding of the video and stuff like that. Because, yeah, it just seems to be they have it right.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do. Microsoft announced a new webcam and USB-C speaker for the work from home area. I think this is going to keep on growing. That like
sounds like
be
something
more...
I want. A new toy for me to play with.
Yeah. Do you know what? I still want a set of nice Plantronic or something headphones that you can switch between devices. Yeah, I was playing around with some of them recently and just thought, yeah, I like the approach that I could be listening to music or walk out of the room, and I could open up a Zoom call and follow me, and then come back and then switch off and the USB plugged into my computer. Yeah, I like some type of a follow me type of system.
Ooh, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's because it had the USB and the Bluetooth. So
because you do see sometimes that where it's like if you can have your connected to your laptop and connect it to your phone, so if the phone rings you can answer it, but then you can go back to maybe, as you say, a Zoom call on your computer or listen to your Spotify or whatever else you're listening to.
Yeah, well, Microsoft's long-awaited webcams is finally here, along with a number of accessories designed for work from home era. Rumors of the new Microsoft Webcam have been circulating for years. A 1080p webcam will start shipping for $70. That is very reasonable for HD camera. And main thing is that they have a little output
Oh, the
device
speaker, the little
speaker.
USB-C bigger. I'd be more interested in that.
That's $100. I was thinking, no, it can't be the two things for $70. $100 for the little speaker that plugs out, and yeah, I like
I wonder what they do a deal with me for 150
that.
for two.
Microsoft, if you are listening, we will test it out. We will trial it out for us. I'll stick those up on the show notes. Of course, we can't talk about Microsoft without talking about Apple, and Apple has brought out a load of new toys. Oh, do we remember the old iMacs? Are we old enough? Listeners, are you old enough to remember the old iMacs, the plastic back of the iMacs, and when Steve Jobs brought them first out? And if you haven't watched the Steve Jobs film, I think that's just a reason to watch it. When they started, when he left Apple and then came back to Apple, and of course then the iMacs with the plastic colored backings, and God, like if you dropped one of those iMacs, yeah, forget about it.
But I also only remember the orange ones. I know they had loads of other colors, but orange always sticks out in my head. The orange one.
Like, but it was the fact that Apple was always seen as just the white image, and for years since, it has been seen as the white or black image with the iPhones, black and silver logo, and then the white front. Well, they're going back to the colors, but like this time it's a metal backing and look quite slick.
And slim, and very slim.
Very slim, very slick looking. But would it make me want to pay the extra fee for a color? No. Like, the one thing for certain that you can't beat is the chip that's in the Apple computers, M1 chips. Wow, super fast speed. I'm getting a new Mac for work because I'll have to do a lot of video editing, so that's my excuse for one. But Apple have a new suite of products ranging from updated iMac and iPad Pro, and one thing that I just could not wrap my head around is the AirTags.
I think they're really interesting.
Rip-off of the Tile.
But if you're a complete Apple person, where you have iPads and iPhones and MacBooks and Apple TV, this is just another thing in your ecosystem. But I think the way it connects into the phone, it's part of the like Find My iPhone app is part of it. So I get it. I was just looking at it, and they actually come engraved as part of your purchase. That's a great gimmick. It's a really
it's super. I'm sorry. I'm an Apple user, but it's a super gimmick. You know, get a pen and you can write it on it.
Yeah. But for free, we're giving it to you for free. It's probably just included in the price somewhere along the way. But yeah.
How much were those tiles again? I think they were about. Oh, it's not too bad. $30 for an AirTag, and then you can get the accessories, which is a leather little holder for your tag, which you will have to have because otherwise you are going to lose this little.
Like, how are you going to tag it onto something if you can't?
Yeah, because unless you drill a hole to it and probably damage it. But $30 for the AirTag, and then another $35. So we're talking about $65, about €50 for one of these tags, versus the fact that a tile has a little hole on the top of it and you can thread a keyring through, or you can put it on a bit of lace, or whatever the case may be. But
does tile work with Apple devices?
If you have the tile app, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so you could do it that way. Again, you would have to have two apps, fine, but it's not new hardware. It's like Tile has had its replica companies that's done things. You go onto wish.com, you can find something that's Tile related that will act as a trackable. You know, like, it's whether or not maybe Tile is out of patent, and this is why Apple could
Mm.
go
But
about.
it's just another thing. Like when you open it, like you think about you have your Apple AirPods, now you have your Apple Tile. It's just connecting. It's just another thing connecting into your Apple environment. If you're an Apple person, this is totally up your street. If you're someone who constantly loses their keys or something of value, maybe their kid, um,
Yeah, well, you know what?
I,
Look,
I I wonder how they come up with a necklace pendant.
well, I'm sure like the Apple range of watches can have trackables like that. The Apple TV has been updated to 4K. I thought they were 4K already.
Mm.
There you go. It was 4K, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos audio
I
system.
think the new remote control, I think that's the big selling point on the Apple TV. They put out a new remote control, which because there was I think people were complaining the old one wasn't as easy to navigate with, but the new one has a kind of like a touch pad remote. That was the one thing I remember
Yes.
from watching it. It was one of their big things was the remote.
iPad Magic Keyboard is copying the Windows Surface. Is it not?
Mm.
Yes, it is. Sorry, Apple, you're behind on the game a bit here. Like the Surface had that. Yeah, it just brings me back to memories of like, you know, companies that bought a load of iPads and then just realized that it wouldn't do half the things that you thought it could do
Mm.
because it's an iPad and it's not a Mac. So
Yeah,
therefore,
where I think isn't the iPad Pro nearly built on nearly like the Apple Air kind of. It's basically you more or less have a computer now in your hand. It just has no physical keyboard.
mm, yeah, and that's probably why they bring out the keyboard. The Magic Keyboard will set you back just a short bit of $300 there as well, listeners. So,
Mm. I hear
small
loads of
change.
people with the Apple Pencil using the Apple Pencil a lot. People who are very creative, and people in meetings using the Apple Pen or Pencil.
A
That
little
was called.
stylus, yeah.
And I think I got to say I would love to give it a try. Of course, you need an iPad first to go with it. But I hear people who draw a lot and do a lot of architectural stuff
Yeah,
use them a lot.
I want a graphic designer to come on on the show and tell me like, is this any different than a normal stylus that you could get that has
Mm.
got a finer touch? Maybe it does, maybe it does. You know, like some of these stylus that you can buy, like they do have many like rubbery pencil nibs that you have to replace from time to time. Um, Even the Wacom, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, Chinese name, WACOM, and they have like little nibs on the top of the styluses that if you're leaning too hard on it, you can change the plastic, and they are expensive. They're between 50 and €200. So
Mm.
yeah, I don't know enough about them. So there we go.
Yeah,
We'll ask our listeners to come back on that. But yeah, AirTags, you're not going to be rushing out to buy one.
I'm not really an Apple person. I'm an Android person.
But they also did their iOS 14.5 is Apple's biggest privacy update yet. And I guess, people working from home, GDPR, data security. I have a great one about data security. Actually, I have to throw this into the program. So, I had to request medical records for my son because a certain consultant that used to look after his eyes has moved twice during this COVID environment and nearly retired. So I won't name the consultant, but I'm sure people can work that out by the clues I've just given them. And for ages and ages and ages, no one told us that he had moved to another new practice. So we're finally getting another consultant. So we've requested his files. And it's a total show of GDPR and how it works. So I had to fill out a form and I had to give my photo ID to prove that I'm who I say I am to request his medical records because he's a minor. For them to come back to me and say, sorry, our files show that you're not the next of kin referenced on the file. So obviously it was my wife that had filled out the first form. But after doing all that paperwork, and then I just thought about it, like, hold on a minute. I'm after giving you my passport information, my date of birth, and where I live. So what happens to that data collection that they've just after getting? GDPR, yeah, it's great. Yeah, if it works, it's great. But you know what? I just think there's so many different types of data breaches that must have happened in the past year and a half, where it's going to be under the radar, where everyone was forced to work from home, and if they've been using personal devices, and I can guarantee that it's not just public sector, there's private sector businesses out there that have told people to use their own personal laptops and whatever. There has to, whether or not that at the end of this whole COVID environment, that people are going to, the data commissioner is going to come out like a bull in a china shop and just chase after all these companies. I guess it's only when something wrong happens, when it's a
And that's
DDoS
usually
attacked, or like there's been a couple of universities across Ireland now that's had big attacks. But not even talking about public sector, like we can talk about the fact that let's talk about courier companies that have recently had their websites hacked and data and information taken as well. So it's out there, But
now, of course, if you can make money from it, companies are going to do it, or there's going to be groups or whatever you want to call them out there trying to hack them.
yeah,
It's like it's all about money. It's just a new form of making money. Instead of robbing the bank, we can rob them remotely.
yeah, true, yeah. But no, I just found that funny that after filling out all the forms and handing over my passport details and proving that I was them, you think they could have told me at the very beginning, actually, by the way, you're not the next of kin mentioned on your son's medical records.
But they not just looked and went, it's a lady, not a man. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that would have helped, They apologize for the inconvenience, but whatever. We're talking about divorces, and that sort of leads us right into Bill Gates. Billionaire Bill Gates and his wife Melinda are to get a divorce after 27 years. I think this shocked the tech industry in the past week.
I don't know very much about, like other than I read the bit I read about him. Basically said he kind of he stepped away at one point from the board of Microsoft, and then he to be kind of like a president, or not a president, an advisor as such, and then he more or less stepped away completely. So, but he must have money still in Microsoft, or he just doesn't need money from it anymore because he's so wealthy. But imagine them trying to divide their money up the middle.
Well, it's going to affect, the hardest hit is charity organizations and that they have supported through the years. They're worried about how this is going to affect them because they have so many different charities that gain sponsorship, have big golden investors in it that might pull out after this, which
because they did say that the foundation is not, they're not stopping the foundation, they're going to continue working on it together. But it's like everything else, will that rock confidence in other investors as well, kind of?
But a very gentle approach to it. They both came out with a similar Twitter message and then said they're going to work together on the foundation, as Simon just mentioned. I just find it, well, I guess people fall out of love all the time, but 27 years together, why? It sort of comes to mind, personally.
Because and of course the tabloids are trying to spin loads of other reasons and rumors and different things that why they're separating and stuff like that. But who knows?
$130 billion, 93 billion pounds. Married Melinda in 1994, and 20. Like, kids got, like, I think I read years and years and years ago that Bill Gates admitted that he was not going to leave any money to his family. That now I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, He'd probably, like, in a sense, not leave the billions, but he'd
Yeah,
probably leave them to be comfortable enough, but not probably that they're spoon fed for the rest of their life.
yeah. Well, even $1 million out of that massive, what's that? 0.00001% of the money. You can live on $1 million. You could live on half a million. But yeah, there's the story. Billionaire Bill Gates and Melinda to get divorced after 27 years. Another
Because,
one.
yeah,
Watch the space.
because that's what they were saying. Like, that's two big ones this year or in the last year because of the Amazon one as well.
Yeah. Now, it sort of links on to famous people. And did you watch? I don't know how much of the royal family you really get involved with, Simon, or would you rather be watching paint dry? But
No, I definitely have a passing interest in it.
yeah, us proddy folk that we are. I joke. But Harry and Meghan, sold their story to Oprah. Big deal, and worth plenty of money. And they said that they didn't want the publicity, and then they go off and they have their own charities, and rumors that they're going to end up doing series on Netflix, and people badmouth Harry and Meghan for doing this. But how is that any different from William and Kate now have their own YouTube channel?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's because I've had the whole why did I need one, but I guess my thinking is there is so much, so that's social media. It's all about getting their name and their presence out there of what they're doing. Because if you look at Twitter, every day there's videos up of them on Twitter
Well,
doing
that's true
something.
too. Like, how is this any different when you put it in that perspective? It's a social media channel, and it's relevant. It's new. Like I remember back in the well, again, showing my age here, listeners, where the Queen started with their own websites when the .com bubble really started coming out, and all of a sudden Buckingham Palace have their own website. And remember Buckingham Palace, baby, before the terrorism days of 9/11 and so forth, you could actually do tours around parts of Buckingham Palace. So how is this? This is bringing back to modern approach of the royal family. And yeah, people are going to jump on the bandwagon and say, okay, well, how's that different to Harry and Meghan, and then going off.
But I suppose the only difference is one's not spilling the beans in the sense of
Yeah,
all the bad
one's
things.
not a fashion outlet, and the other, like this is going to be the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, the future King of England, promoting the works of the royal family. And I
Yeah.
think after all the slating that's come out from Harry and Meghan, I think this is the approach that probably the media and PR just went, we need to have you. But look, we had Trump for years on social media, and now he's struggles to get on it. We have the new president of the United States on it. We have politicians on Twitter. What difference is to bring it out on YouTube and social media?
I think it's just another presence. But yeah, when you start hearing them doing Discord and things like that, then it's gone a little bit too far.
All the kids jump on board TikTok or something like
Yeah.
that. That's when it has gone too far. Yeah, you'd love to know what technology they're using and what cameras they're using to record their YouTube videos. I'm sure they're not recording on the fly like we do.
No, but
No.
I have seen some behind the scenes pictures on Twitter of the Queen and stuff like that, doing her video calls and stuff like that, and people be asking, "Oh, what's she using?" and all this kind of stuff. So, like, they're not behind the time in their tech because she needs to be good quality. So I guess they're all the same.
They're using Zoom, but we can never forget how Boris tweeted a Zoom call back in the days where the meeting ID was right on the top of the Zoom call. Yeah. Say no more about that. Is it time to call an end? We're going to end on this topic. Is it time to call an end on foldable phones? For me, I just think, God.
I'd love to get one just to try.
Huawei have mastered the fold formula. Huawei is revealed a third iteration of its folding smartphone, abandoning its previous designs and taking some inspiration from Samsung. Until something goes wrong and they go on fire or something like that
Yeah.
again,
I don't know. I would love to give it a try. I think it's kind of a nifty, cool. I'd like if you're out and about visiting clients and you need a bigger tablet, and all of a sudden you take out this thing and it's like the size of a wallet, and all of a sudden it's now a big, like a 7 or a 10-inch tablet. You're like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it want to be still as good as an iPad when you unfold it.
And do you know what? You wonder when the likes of Apple are going to. we badmouth Apple a lot tonight, but they've copied the AirTag, they've copied the Surface with their keyboards. But how come they have not gone near the whole foldable phone?
Yeah, maybe that just shows you something about the industry. If the foldable phone is not something that's reliable and meets their standard, because they have a very high standard in their phone quality.
Yeah.
And their screens and stuff like that. But I gotta say, I wouldn't mind giving it a try.
Yeah.
If someone was willing to give me one to play with. I don't know if I wouldn't go out and buy one.
Like that, would you again with the iPhone 12? If someone's willing to give us an iPhone 12 to play with on 5G and whatever, we would happily try it out and play it. I think it's the main thing about the iPhone 12 is the camera.
It does. Their cameras are always nice, superior. But I know Samsung their cameras have come on quite a lot as well. So, but no, I'm still kind of not happy about the Huawei and not having a Android system anymore. No, it's Android, their own Android system.
Yeah, me too. If I had to upgrade my phone, I guess it has to be a Google phone now, because I want to use the Play Store. I want to use Android approach.
Versus the Huawei's Android environment. It's just not what you need. I don't want another system. Everything else is integrated properly here, so why change it? Unfortunately, that means a change in brand for the next phone. Who knows what that will bring.
Well, he says the guy that will have no money in the next couple of weeks as baby number 2 arrives on scene. Simon, it's been great having you again on the All Things TechIE podcast. You are going to disappear for a while to get your head straight.
Don't worry, but we'll be around. Don't worry.
Yeah. We'll still drag him in. Might hear some babies in the background in that skyscraper building of his that he's okay. If you want to get in contact with the program, you can always do so at Simon Lang AV, at Justin or Dawson. We're on allthingstech.ie and hashtag AV Tech Junkies.